Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Rose.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
Welcome to our new Yellowjackets Pit Girl Theory video. Now, in here, we're going to give you a full explanation of everything we know about Pit Girl, some of the big theories that are out there, where we stand on who may Pit Girl actually be, because, I mean, this has been going on for years within this fandom.
Yeah, and I mean, there feels like there's only a certain amount of people this could actually be because the young lady that is running through the forest at the very beginning of all this has long, dark hair.
Yes.
So we're going to be getting into, could it be Mari? Could it be Callie? Is it another character that is not yet introduced to us, which would be very disappointing at this point. So who do you guys think is Pit Girl? What is your theory about it?
Yeah, I think this is a really fun discussion to have because Pit Girl really identifies just how crazy and just brutal this world was in the past. And this is why we saw it all the way back at the start of the show, because they wanted to sort of create this contrast between, okay, here's who the Yellowjackets were when they first arrived in the wilderness, and this is who they've become. And we still, 3 seasons in, we haven't gotten fully to this point yet. It just feels like this is going to be a really hard thing for them to pay off. Like, let's just be really honest. With a mystery show like this, you're gonna be able to have some big reveals that have everybody being like, oh, like that's what I was like with the bird watchers, or who we believe to be bird watchers at the end of this past episode. Like, that was generally stunning for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't believe that somebody was just adventuring around. I was like, okay, cool. So how far away are they from a road or civilization actually? Because if these guys hiked in, you can hike out.
All right, well, we're going to get so much more into everything with Pit Girl. Before we do, be sure to hit that subscribe button because, yeah, we're going to be here with Yellowjackets content through the rest of Season 3. And also, in addition to Yellowjackets, we are in the midst here of covering Severance, The White Lotus, The Last of Us is coming very, very soon, as is The Handmaid's Tale, and we don't want you guys to miss any of that coverage as well.
Absolutely. And if you want to support us further, join our Patreon where you can get more Yellowjackets content. It also helps support Matt and I here at the channel. We are covering over there exclusively The Pit, which is airing on Max, Bosch Legacy, which is going to be coming up quite soon, and we are also looking at covering Andor when it is back. So if you are into the Star Wars universe, so are we, and we are looking to cover that over there exclusively. It is the only place that you can get those reviews. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys. We very, very much appreciate that.
Okay, tinfoil hats. Everybody just get them on, because this is just a big theory discussion at this point.
Okay.
Who do you think is Pit Girl? You guys tell us in the comments. Matt, you're going to tell me too, but I think it is Callie. I think that this is not in the past because I feel like this show is going to want to have like a huge reveal, because I think a lot of us think, well, it makes sense that it's Mari. You know, we know that pit is already dug. We saw Ben find it with some cash, like just put some sticks in it and away we go, sort of thing. We know how they're behaving in the past. We also know that we have seen from this opening sequence that it is one of the younger Yellowjackets that is all like covered in furs and masks or whatever, and pink Converse sneakers, looking over the side. So I can already feel you guys typing and being like, it is one of the younger people that's looking over the side. Absolutely. That is what we are seeing. What I think they're going to do, or what I think the show is going to do, is let's say it's Misty.
Yeah.
Which is a really popular theory. A lot of people think that it is Misty that is looking over the side. Is it possible that the show is going to have Callie end up being the person that's in the pit, and we're going to have a younger Misty look over, and then it transition into it's actually Misty in the present? And that's kind of where I think we're going with it, because in the past, we haven't seen Mari wearing Jackie's necklace yet. And we've seen the necklace used in a few ways. We've seen Jackie wearing it, and she ended up being food. We saw Ben wearing it. Same thing. They feasted on. We've seen other people wearing it where they're in charge. Pit Girl's also wearing it. We have not seen Mari wearing it, but we have seen Callie wearing it.
this is, I think, where things get really complicated to me because I feel like Callie is a much more satisfying outcome if you're
Yes.
coming from the perspective of, okay, we really want to genuinely surprise people. And it would be a big surprise, especially in how they're going to pull some editing magic where they really made us think back at the start of this series that this was 100% in the past. But
Right.
really, they're just playing with perspective to make you think that. And this is really not
Mhm.
in the past. Like, right now, I'm going with the expectation mostly because I'm just setting myself up here so that I'm not disappointed. I'm going with the expectation that it's Mari just because hair color completely eliminates Melissa from the picture at this point. And, there's a lot of theories out there already that we're going to meet Melissa in the present, and she's
Right.
played by Hilary Swank. Like, I thought for a while after this past episode, it's like, oh, maybe it's one of the bird watchers. But, like, there's obviously there's an age difference there. But beyond all of that, we have not seen anybody put all of these little skewers into the pit, and we've seen the skewers that are into the pit
Right.
back at the start of this. So there's obviously some sort of progression of time. I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot of questions where the Yellowjackets have figured out, okay, this is what we want to do with this pit, and this is where we're going to build this to make it work. Like, this is obviously a pretty deliberate process. So, I mean, that also shows to me it's like, okay, the bird watchers are not going to be their direct key to get out of here. They're not leaving the wilderness here yet, guys.
No, I don't think they're leaving the wilderness yet. I don't think that it's one of the bird watchers. The bird watchers seemingly are quite a bit older than the girls that are there. The person that was running in the forest looked like they were much younger, around Callie's age, Mari's age, not the age of the bird watchers. Look like they're my age.
Mm-hmm.
And the pit seemingly, like you said, those skewers have not been put into the pit yet, seemingly. Like, it just hasn't been put together yet. We saw everything where Murray took them back to the cave, but she wasn't like, oh, here's also this hole where all of these caches were. Do they know about the hole? They might, but I don't think that they've set this up yet. That whole opening sequence feels like a ritual, that this
Mm-hmm.
is something where the girls who are chasing the girl that is Pit Girl are probably around the forest that are like leading her down a very specific path where she's seeing symbol, 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 pit. And that's how that's going, so that they're able to kind of like corner her and get her to fall into the pit. And I don't think that they're going to take this bird watcher, change her clothes,
Yeah.
get the stakes ready, and then get her out there. Let us know if you think it's the bird watcher. I just don't think there's enough time. The age
Yeah.
difference doesn't make any sense to me,
Mm-hmm.
and why you would think that it's her.
Okay, I am gonna go down your Callie rabbit hole for a minute here though, just because I think number one, like I said, this is the most exciting possibility. Number two, I'll put a tinfoil hat here. I think I have an idea as to how this could happen
Okay.
because beyond just the editing of it all, like we've already gone into that, we've discussed that with people in the comments over time. Like I think the other big question has been like, okay, if Callie is actually Pit Girl, how in the world does this happen? Like, how do they get back to the wilderness to make this transpire? And there's a couple of different schools of thought here. Number one, this isn't the same wilderness. They put a replica somewhere else, but that's not as exciting to me. Number two is that this is the actual wilderness, but this brings us back to Melissa. So if Melissa is the person who sent the tape and has had all this stuff going on all season, and Melissa is played by Hilary Swank, and she's threatening to ruin the Yellowjackets' lives, maybe something happened out there and she's sort of like, okay, Yellowjackets, if you want to make all of this go away, you have to meet me back where all of this started. And they all go back to the wilderness, and Callie goes too because she wants answers, and maybe Shauna can't say no to her, or Callie may even follow her. All that's kind of hard to say, but ultimately they all reconvene there, and then things get kind of weird and ritualistic again, like we saw at the end of season 2 with what happened to Natalie, and then the chain of events just leads to Callie being in this situation.
Yeah, I think that's a good way that they'd be able to get everybody back. It does feel like this is back at the wilderness, almost like Lost,
Mhm.
spoilers for Lost, where they get off the island and, it's Jack is like, oh, we gotta go back. We gotta go back. We need
Yeah,
to,
yeah, yeah.
finish what it all started, sort of thing. That there are definitely going to be women in the group that want to go back to sort of finish off what they started so that they could get back to they might think if they do this that they can get back to having like a regular life where they can equal it out in some sort of a way. And then they agree to do it. Kind of like we saw at the end of last season, where they're kind of like, okay, we're playing along with Lottie and picking cards. By the time they're all picking up weapons and masks, they're just like, is this really happening? Are we going to kill Shauna? Like, I don't know what's happening.
Okay, here's another crazy thought. What if it's actually both? And what I mean by this is that we've never seen Mari in the present. We've never seen any evidence at all that Mari is alive in the present.
No.
It's very well possible she could be.
Mm-hmm.
But what if we are going to see Mari meet some sort of somewhat similar demise in the past, but this is sort of playing out where we're seeing this happen almost concurrently with what we're seeing happen with Callie in the present? Because what I think would be brilliant about this in theory is that, yeah, there's been people speculating about one or the other, but I don't know how many people are saying it's going to be both. And if it's both, I think that's a real legitimate way to get people surprised.
Let's talk about these pink sneakers,
Okay.
because the fandom has been talking about these pink sneakers for years now.
Yeah.
The person who is standing over Pit Girl looking in, we're not really able to tell much about them at all. They
Yeah.
are completely covered up, but they are wearing these pink Converse, light pink Converse, the same pink Converse that I have been coveting for years that I really want. And we've seen sort of stills from different episodes where it's like, oh, I think so and so is wearing these pink sneakers, but they kind of look maroon. Oh, it could be the lighting. Oh, maybe they faded over time. They did not fade over time.
Mhm.
That is not how this shoe works. They do make a light pink and they do make a maroon color of these shoes. So it is the light pink. But the thing about it is that makes it all the more complicated is, one, as a teenager, at one point, young girl, we like to share clothes, and we like to share clothes with our friends. And more than that, they're in the wilderness. So there's only a limited amount of clothes that are there.
Yeah.
I think they're absolutely sharing each other's shoes. They're sharing each other's clothes. Like, it's just something that's going to be happening. So just because somebody's wearing those pink sneakers looking over the pit doesn't mean that it is the same person that is wearing the sneakers by the fireplace or while they're collecting water.
Yeah, I think that it really doesn't narrow down the field all that much.
No.
You look at the Yellowjackets, there's nobody in there and who you would automatically just look at and be like, okay, you wear a significantly larger shoe size than anybody else. I think that they want there to be a lot of different possibilities with the Converse, just like they want there to be a lot of possibilities when it comes to Jackie's necklace, because we've already seen it have several different people who are wearing it at certain points of time. So we can't make any too harsh assumptions when it comes to that.
Well, also, we only saw the one person looking over the pit, but that doesn't mean that everybody else isn't there as well. This person is all covered up, furs, like we've seen them all dress up for these different rituals.
Mhm.
So it would be strange that it's only one person. It felt very much like the group of them were probably chasing this person because it felt like they were being led in very specific directions where it was like this symbol, that symbol, the pit. To be able to be kind of coerced into going to this certain path that they want them to follow, that's not one person's job, that's a group.
Okay, let's talk about Callie with just from the vantage point of, okay, why does Callie have such a big role this season?
Right.
Like, going into it, we learned more that, okay, Sarah Desjardins, who plays the character, like, she's going to be a major part of season 3. And to me, there's only two different outcomes. There's two different reasons why, because she's not a Yellow Jacket. So reason number one is that maybe she ends up somehow getting a lot of information about what happens, and maybe she ends up being a connection to the real world who ends up sort of saving Shauna from herself, because Shauna can't think clearly because of everything she's gone through. The other possibility, and this is the very dark possibility, is that they needed to make her an even bigger character so that we feel something when she is gone, because she is somebody who's really just wanted to know more about her mom and understand more about her mom, and Shauna's been really resistant to it in this idea that because Callie has inserted herself so much into all of this that it actually ends up being a situation where, oh, Shauna was actually right. She shouldn't have inserted herself into all of this and shouldn't have spent time with Lottie because she set herself up in a spot where she could be quote unquote chosen.
I'm just going to say, Callie knows too much. She's not part
Yeah.
of the Yellowjackets. We know that she spent that whole night with Lottie where they, took Misty out for the
Yeah.
night. And the two of them seemingly exchanged a lot of information. We then later saw that they're, going off to the store and
Yeah.
picking up things together. They're dancing, they're cooking, and Callie's wearing that necklace given to her
Yeah.
by Lottie. It feels like she's become an honorary member of the Yellowjackets,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that the rest of the group is going to be okay with an outsider knowing exactly what is going on.
Yeah.
I think Callie's in danger, and she should be. For the amounts of things that they did in the past, having someone who wasn't part of that knows what's going
Yeah.
on, and all the adults just hoping that she's going to keep that secret, it doesn't seem safe.
No, that's the reason why this tape is so threatening to Shauna at this point.
And all of them.
Yeah, it exposes the truth, and the truth that does not set them free in the world of Yellowjackets. Like,
Sends them to jail.
there are fundamentally three different questions when it comes to Pit Girl at this point. There is, who it is, how it happens, and while it might be easy to say, okay, it's because of this ritual that they go through and all of that, yeah, that's a part of it, but if this is the present, there's a lot more going on here. And then number three, why it's happening, and then that's where you get into the, oh, do this because this person knows too much, or is it because, oh, we view this person as expendable in the past, where maybe we've rigged the whole it chooses system so that we could get rid of somebody who we don't really need. And I think fundamentally, they've still given themselves multiple possibilities in both timelines. They've still given themselves the possibility of editing things in some tricky way to make you think it's the past. Like, I really think with this show, a show that has had the most bizarre things imaginable, and yes, some of them have been dream sequences, but still really, really bizarre. I don't think we can sit here and say that any one thing is definite and we can altogether rule out another.
No, I think after what happened with Ben, where they chose to eat him, where they have other choices now, they have a whole pen filled with rabbits and ducks, they can choose to eat animal over eating another person, but they still chose to do this, whether it was like, oh, we're gonna honor him, or it's to help us find the way home. It doesn't matter at this point. They're just doing it because they want to.
Yeah, like I just constantly think back to like Batman and Two-Face just flipping the coin over and over again until he gets the desired result he wants.
Yeah, so it feels like if it's in the past, it feels like they are doing it because they want to or they have to eat. And in the present, if it's Callie, who really feels like she's the only option, it's probably because she knows too much.
Yeah, it's a legitimate thing to be worried about entering these final episodes, especially since, eventually we're going to get this. I don't think they're going to wait to the series finale to tell us who Pit Girl is. I think we're going to learn it beforehand, and I think we're going to see also a stretch of time with the Yellowjackets after the wilderness, but before they're aged up and played by these other actors, because we've already gotten like little teases of that already.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple deaths already this season, but I feel like it's not done.
No, they are not done. Somebody else will be chosen or chosen. But for now, we want you guys to choose. Who do you think Pit Girl is? Why and how do you think it happens? Let us know all of your thoughts, your theories in the comments. We love reading them. And hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more Yellowjackets, and you can support us further by joining our Patreon. That link is in the description below. We're covering the pit there. Bosch Legacy is coming up. Andor is coming up. I just like saying it like that. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you here next time.